love is gone, that your love is gone.
Namjoon felt like the shittiest, meanest person in entire Dongjak. He couldn't believe himself when he felt glad that his mate had cried himself to sleep in his arms on their way back. It's just that Namjoon knows the boy would have been in so much confusion and much more pain if he was awake. He, at least, wasn't releasing pheromones of distress anymore. There were no whimpers, no whines escaping his busted, pale lips. He slept so peacefully. Even when Hoseok tended to his wounds, Namjoon knows for a fact that patching him up would have been difficult for Hoseok if he was awake, even difficult for Namjoon and the hardest for the boy himself because of both his battered physical state and distant mental state. Namjoon also needed a couple minutes to gather his thoughts because so much has happened in the past 40 minutes. He doesn't think he is in his own body or mind anymore. He doesn't feel like himself anymore, and the world feels so unfamiliar all of a sudden. There was so much light just 40 minutes ago, and suddenly, all that's left is darkness. Namjoon did have the easiest life out there, honestly, but still, he lived a considerably decent life with decent people surrounding him. He had his fair share of struggles and sorrows, but he spent his life dreaming every day, every night of happiness. It was only today that he realized not everyone has that luxury. Not everyone is given the honor to be allowed to dream about beautiful days and nothing but happiness. While most of them complain about the littlest of their troubles, there are people out there who are denied basic rights and the permission to cry about it. There are people who have only ever dreamt nightmares, unending nightmares that don't leave even after they've woken up. And his mate just happens to be one of those people. A subject of the cruelty of life, cruelty of humans. Shit, fuck. Namjoon doesn't know how he is supposed to undo all that has ever happened to Jungkook. It looks so bad even though he doesn't yet know the full story. Hell, he isn't even sure if his heart is ready to know it whole. But what he knows for sure is that this boy didn't deserve any of it. This bot who looked at Namjoon with nothing but guilelessness in his big, brown eyes, who looked so small and frail, as if he was withering away, slowly, surely, like a dandelion on a windy day. Now that he's laying on the infirmary bed, all patched up and wiped clean, Taehyung can see his face much clearly. Pretty little face, pretty little lips, pretty little nose. Long lashes, kissing his protruding cheekbones. A face that deserves nothing but for a smile to be put on it. Eyes that deserves nothing but to crinkle with sheer force of happiness. Namjoon will give it all to him. That's the thing about Namjoon, he is always ready to give. He has just so much to give. So much love, so much kindness, little smiles and encouraging words. Happiness, joy, positivity, a lot. And maybe that's why fate left this boy to him. Maybe. Because the Omega is a disaster and Kim Namjoon is capable of finding beauty in that. He's malnourished, severely. Some of his wounds are fresh, but some have since long been healed. There are lots of old scars, probably from months ago. I can tell, June, that he's been going through this for so long. They've had him for long. The Omega's head is so woozy, he can barely make anything out of the voice. Bruises are littered on his body. Fortunately, most of them are external. There's one badly bruised rib that might hurt a lot, but will heal well with proper care. The foot is injured badly, but the bone is fine. But what about his hands? They don't look good. They're bitten brutally. A few of his nails are missing. 3 fractures on the right hand. I don't want to assume the worst, but it looks like he was trying to protect his neck from getting bitten. He was wearing a collar, but despite that, there were bite marks everywhere, as if someone tried to forcefully claim him. There's a growl, a low, intimidating growl. It makes him hold in his breath and screws his eyes shut tight enough to see stars. Scared. He's scared. Who are these new alphas? What do they want from him? Where did they bring him? He doesn't think he's in the forest house. Where is he? There are marks all over his chest too. Be careful with him, June. He's been through too much from the looks of it. I don't know what he experienced, but it was anything but good. And one more thing. There's something wrong with his scent glands. I removed his collar to take a look. They're swollen and irritated. I can't tell why, but it's most probably an allergic reaction. I applied medication so you won't be able to smell him for the time being. A few more of words are exchanged before the Omega gains back a fraction more of consciousness. Enough to notice one of the presents fading and the other one advancing him. His body trembles in fear. He holds his breath, curls his toes. Maybe if he pretends to be sleeping, the Alpha wouldn't hurt him. And maybe he'd leave, just like the rogues in the forest who craved his wails of pain and so only inflicted harm when he was conscious. He bites into his bottom lip to hold in his voice, and he waits for the Alpha to walk away, or for a blow to come his way, for a sneer or a growl, for anything. He waits for anything to happen, but nothing happens, and it just scares him more. What will happen to him now? My dear. A deep voice rumbles in the room, and the Omega jolts in surprise. He flinches so prominently and yet continues to pretend that he didn't hear, even though his arms shiver and sweat gleams across his temples. You need to breathe. Let it out. The voice speaks again, softly, so tenderly that it befuddles him. The Omega finds himself contemplating if he should obey. He ends up breathing out before he could reach a conclusion because there is just so much his lungs can take. You can open your eyes, sweetheart. I can tell that you are awake. The boy thinks he recognizes this voice. He very vague remembers it. This scent too. Calming, soothing scent of musk that makes him relax involuntarily. Fingers brush against his forehead that has a plaster on one side to cover the bloody gash. His eyelids fly open in surprise, teeth digging harder into the lip they're assaulting. Their eyes meet. Very briefly. The Omega is quick to avert his gaze. Namjoon shoots a small smile at the boy, threading fingers through his dirty hair. He helped Hoseok clean the boy, but they didn't wash the hair. Didn't want to wake him up before he was willing to come back to it. Hello, my love, I am Kim Namjoon. Namjoon continues. And you're in Dongjak right now. The Omega frowns a little. He's heard the rogues talking of Dongjak before. It's a territory if he remembers correctly. May I know your name? Huh? Shocked, the boy meets his eyes with Namjoon again, before panicking and looking away. Yet again. Is sorry. He is quick to sputter, a hand clenching the sheets under him. The sheets. When he feels the soft, cotton cloth rolling into his fist, he realizes he's not on the dirty floor, but on a bed. A soft, comfortable one at that, and he's covered with something warm, a blanket. It's tucked under his chin and is draping him till the last toe. He doesn't remember feeling this clean and warm in a long time. Why would these alphas provide him such luxuries? This one especially, who is talking so sweetly, calling sweet names, saying sweet reassurances. The Omega doesn't know why, but his scent feels very comfortable to breathe in. Very familiar, very pleasant. And this man is asking for his name now. Why? I'm Jungkook. Jungkook. Namjoon echoes through the smile. Pretty name. He thinks. For a pretty boy. Jaejeon Jungkook. Jungkook's voice is very quiet and hoarse and noticeably shaky. It's out of fear. He fears whatever plans this man has up his sleeve for him. Being given something just to have it snatched away. Jungkook has gone through that a lot. The rogues love doing that to him. Giving him clothes to rip them away. Providing food to make him throw it up. Letting him make a choice just to mock him about it. It was awful. Painful. Jungkook never wants to go through that again, but this all it seems to be exactly like that. How old are you? Namjoon questions, never raising his voice above a little more than a whisper because he doesn't want to scare away Jungkook. I am 26. Jungkook doesn't think he knows correctly. What if he doesn't know the exact answer? Will he get beaten again? Jungkook's breath hitches. He doesn't look at Namjoon. Not even once. Barely notices the hand playing with his hair in a comforting manner. I'm sorry. I don't think I know accurately, but owner said to a C client last week that I turned 20. A month ago. Namjoon had promised himself that he'd remain nothing but calm around Jungkook, but the pot his fury has been boiling and overflows. Owner, he voices out on an impulse, bites his cheek right after. Why, yes. I've been with him for 7 years. Namjoon sees Jungkook's eyes get glossy as they stare at nothing. The boy's chin wobbles and Namjoon wants to bash his head against the wall several times for bringing this up and making him cry. Alpha, did you buy me from him? Huh, Namjoon blinks, shocked. But this time, he masks it. Darling, no. Why would you think so? I don't know, Alpha. The boy whispers, voice suddenly very small. Namjoon's heart has broken into enough pieces already, and it doesn't stop. I am sorry. You've done nothing to apologize for. Namjoon is quick to reassure. And you don't have to call me that, darling. Then what? What else is Jungkook supposed to call him? How? Then, he mutters in trepidation. He's sure dread will kill him before his time comes. Whatever else you desire, you can call me. No. This is some sort of test, isn't it? Life is testing him again. This Alpha, he's testing him. Because Jungkook knows he'll get hit the moment he calls him by his name. That's how it has always been. He'll get hit even if he doesn't speak because who is he to not respond to an Alpha? He can't call him Alpha either because he's too much of a lowlife to defy the man. Jungkook's breathing picks a pace again. His ribs ache when he inhales sharply, so thoroughly assaulted by his own thoughts, by the snug scent of the Alpha, by his faux comfort, and by the way he's trying to kill Jungkook so sweetly, so slowly. Jungkook hates it. God, he wheezes. He hates this life. He hates himself. He just wants to die at this point because happiness is a far-fetched dream, and a peaceful life is something he'll never lead. Jungkook, my dear, why are you doing this to me? Pearl after pearl rolls down the boy's cheek. He sways between breathing too much and breathing too little. Everything burns. Everything hurts. He knows he's not supposed to. He knows it's disrespectful. He knows he might get a good beating out of it, but he looks at the Alpha's face anyways. In his eyes. Please, he begs. Please, don't do this to me. I can't anymore. You use me as it pleases you be, but don't be nice to me just to be mean later. Jungkook chokes up, finally. His cheeks flushing. Pants breaking against the walls of the room and sobs following right after. Namjoon doesn't know what he did wrong where he went wrong. Why is Jungkook crying again? What makes him think Namjoon is going to be mean? Why is Jungkook thinking so low of himself? As if it's okay for anyone to use him and throw him away. It's not. It's never okay, for crying out loud. I can't take it anymore. Baby, Namjoon cradles one of the boy's cheek in his hands, interrupting him. He holds his gaze captive so he can't look away this time. Please, just kill me. Jungkook. Namjoon's brows furrow at that. His voice is calm and quiet but authoritative. Don't say that. Surprisingly, Jungkook stops talking. Tears fall and he juts his bottom lip out slightly. His nose scrunch and he snivels but he doesn't say another word. Voice caught in throat, he remains silent. Don't talk as if it's okay for anyone to exploit you. Your life means so much more than that, my dear. Jungkook doesn't understand. He really doesn't. But that's all they ever did. He lets out a broken whisper, making Namjoon's throat clog up. No. Namjoon tells himself, don't fucking cry. This is not about you. Fuck them. The Alpha seethes, wanting to do nothing but kill. Kill anyone who tries to touch this boy. Everyone who ever touched this boy. He wants to hunt them down, break their fingers one after the other. Make them cry harder than Jungkook has ever cried. Make them beg for their own death, like Jungkook did just now. They're gone now, sweetheart. I have you now and no one will ever dare to hurt you again. I promise you that. Jungkook just cries, looking lost. Who are you? Someone you don't have to be afraid of, for I'd never even think of hurting you. Jungkook? I'd only ever want to love and protect you. Namjoon says, caressing the boy's face, thumbing away his tears. They're too precious to be shed so frequently. And Jungkook is too precious to be crying so often. I am your mate, baby. Your Alpha. Jungkook bats his wet lashes, his forehead creased in what seems like mental affliction. Mate? Yes, I'm your mate. I've got you now, baby. You're safe here, away from those bastards. Mates? They're mates? Jungkook has heard the term before. When an alpha bites an omega, claims him, they become mates. However, Jungkook doesn't remember being bitten. He always wears a collar around his neck. Wait. Jungkook's eyes go all round, lips slightly parted. His hand, wrapped in bandages, flies up to touch the side of his neck to see if the collar is still there. But instead of the crusty piece of metal, his fingers brush against his tender scent gland, making him groan in pain. Don't touch there. Namjoon cautiously catches at the boy's wrist, bringing it back slowly. Jungkook looks at him with 1,000 questions twinkling in his eyes, the flow of tears finally halting. Just a few of them glistening in his orbs. Your scent glands are irritated, Namjoon explains. But don't worry. Hosak Hyang, our pack herbalist, applied medicine, so it'll definitely get better in a few days. Jungkook gulps, then nods, tentatively, slowly. Namjoon smiles again, tight-lipped but reassuring. Why you aren't lying, and are you? About what? About Jungkook struggles to find words. Mate. He murmurs after a second. No. Namjoon says, a hand still holding the frail wrist. Other one on Jungkook's cheek. What makes you think I'm lying? There's then no bite. Jungkook lets out in a tiny voice, sinking a little into the pillow. Bite, that's what, okay? Now Namjoon is the one who's confused. I'm not talking about bonding or claiming, baby. Fated mates. We're fated mates. Can't you feel it? Feel it. Jungkook doesn't know what to feel. I'm sorry, I don't know. I can't tell. What does it feel like? It feels like, well, it's hard to explain. Do you sense anything different in my presence or scent? Anything at all? Is scent. Jungkook tells. It's different from the other alphas back at owner's H-house. He's not your owner. Never was. No one owns you but you yourself. Namjoon wants to tell Jungkook, but he refrains from saying it. Jungkook is finally easing into the conversation. He doesn't want to ruin that by pushing it. Why you smell warm? Jungkook feels so stupid because scents aren't warm. Temperature is. But he can't piece together two coherent words to describe Taehyung's scent. He was too scared before to perceive. He still is now, but not as much, so he notices that Namjoon's scent is very, very, welcoming? He's still a little uncertain, but it is, maybe, the closest thing he has ever experienced to home. Warm, Namjoon chuckles, his dimples now showing completely, and Jungkook is slightly in awe of them. A man with a beautiful smile like that will definitely not hurt Jungkook, right? Because that smile looks like it was sculpted to heal hearts. I don't know. Jungkook whispers. Namjoon would think those are the only words the boy knows if he didn't know any better. And it's okay not to. Take your time, darling. There's no rush. Another nod. Very tentative. They fall quiet after that. Jungkook stares at nothing. Namjoon stares at Jungkook. Until there's a knock on the door and Namjoon's cozy touches pull away, making Jungkook move a little to chase them mindlessly, but he stills right after he realizes what he's about to do. Wait a second, darling. Be right back. Namjoon says, and he walks to the door. It's Taehyung, with a tray of food in his hand. Hey, he chims, handing it over. Jin Hyung made soup for the baby. Namjoon shoots the other alpha a grateful look. His name is Jeon Jungkook. Oh, is he talking? Can we meet him, please? Namjoon disapproves of the thought almost immediately. No, he's still very tense. You guys will overwhelm him. Taehyung pouts at that and Namjoon chuckles, unapologetically shutting the door in his face. Lunch, sweetheart. He announces as he turns around to walk back to his seat beside Jungkook's bed. You need to eat a lot and recover quickly, yeah. Jungkook is looking at Namjoon, but his head is laying stiff and straight. Only his eyes move. Let's get you up, Namjoon says, taking the blanket and pulling it down, neatly folding the access a little below Jungkook's stomach so that it still covers his legs. An arm snakes around Jungkook's shoulders and a hand holds his good one for support. Next thing, he is subtly hoisted up into a sitting position, back against the headrest with a soft pillow in between. We didn't know what you'd like to have, and Hosok Hying said that it's better if we get you something easy to digest, so soup it is. Namjoon continues the affair of small talk, figuring out for himself that Jungkook won't be asking anything or talking on his own anytime soon. Jungkook doesn't respond. He only stares warily at the bowl of soup and then disquietly at Namjoon. When a spoonful of soup nudges against his lips, Namjoon notices every twitch of hesitation in his movements before he eats. Questions cloud Namjoon's head, but he pushes them all aside for now. It isn't too hot, is it? And no, Alpha. That again? Namjoon sighs. You can call me Namjoon, or Namjoon Hyung. That's what the youngest two in the pack call me. Hyung? Jungkook tests the word on his tongue. He has never called an Alpha Hyung before. He has never called them by anything but their title, Alpha. And Namjoon Hyung Nim. He murmurs, looking at the Alpha with his big, round eyes for approval. And Namjoon's heart combusts and melts, and his head shoots straight up into the clouds when he hears this ethereal little thing calling his name in a voice so soft and mellifluous. It feels like he has suddenly accomplished a very difficult achievement. That's the kind of satisfaction his chest bubbles with. The Alpha decides to himself that he can listen to this voice forever without getting tired of it. Jungkook's soft voice that sounds uncertain, but only for now. Namjoon will make sure it's so that this voice never cries out in pain again. Giggles and laughs is what it deserves to be indulged in. Yes, good boy? Namjoon ruffles Jungkook's hair, letting him have another bite. Jungkook's hesitance to eat is still very much there. We're gonna have to wash your hair, by the ways. Let me know whenever you think you're ready. Jungkook's face flushes in embarrassment when he brushes his own fingers in his hair just to find them thoroughly coated with dirt. I'm sorry, he squeaks. I can wash them whenever Alpha wants. An abrupt pause. I'm sorry. Another apology. Namjoon wishes Jungkook would just stop apologizing somehow. I can wash up whenever you want me to, Hyung Nim. That won't do, Namjoon hums. Because I want you to do it whenever you feel like it. And now, Jungkook says, he's sure he's very pleasant to look at right now. He should clean up as soon and be of as little inconvenience as possible. He's still uncertain, but from the looks of it, and from what Namjoon said, these people don't intend to inflict harm on him. Jungkook doesn't know what will happen from here on, but for now he wants to be grateful for what he's been given. Alright, baby. I'll help you with that right after you're done eating. Does it hurt? Hosok inquires, twisting Jungkook's foot a little to the left. Jungkook shakes his head, his fists bunched hard in pain and teeth digging into his bottom lip. Even an idiot can tell that's a lie. Hosok sighs, applying the ointment on the swollen area before wrapping it back up. None of the pack members have been formally introduced to Jungkook yet. This is Hosok's first meeting with him in the past 3 days, and that too because the Omega needed to be checked on. Namjoon had insisted on letting Jungkook take his time before he's comfortable enough to at least talk, so they waited for 3 whole days before anyone other than Namjoon could enter the infirmary. 3 days, a short span. But Namjoon noticed a lot during that. He noticed how Jungkook barely ever talks first, how he hesitates to ask. The boy eats very slowly and cautiously. Namjoon doesn't think he's ever seen someone look so scared of eating before. He barely moves all day, laying in the bed really still as if he's chained to it. He avoids eye contact and often slips up and calls Namjoon Alpha. He apologizes more than he breathes and lives more in his mind than in his body. He's often just laying on the bed, staring off at the white ceiling with teary eyes. They have so much to work on. Even if Jungkook gets better physically, that much Namjoon knows for sure. The gash on your head wasn't deep, but let me know if you feel dizzy or confused. Well, Jungkook is always confused, but not because of the gash. It's because of Namjoon. We'll have to keep applying medicine on your scent glands for a while longer. They don't seem to be doing very well. Jungkook doesn't really want Hosok to touch his glands, but he nods anyways, slouching into himself dejectedly. Tilt your head a little, please. Hosok instructs, and Jungkook wants so badly to not comply. He doesn't like people touching his neck. He hates it. Hosok Hyung. Namjoon butts in. I'll do it, he suggests. Oh, okay. That doesn't sound so bad. For some very odd reason, Jungkook isn't repulsed by the idea of letting Namjoon do it. Sure, Hoseok says, handing the bowl of medication to Namjoon. I'm done, so I'll get going now. It's nice meeting you, Jungkook SSI. We'll all patiently await our first official, introductory gathering with you though. A kind smile, and then Hoseok leaves. Jungkook, darling, if you dislike something, you have to say it. Namjoon coaxes. This man seems to have a way with words. He knows how to use his deep voice and solacing scent to his advantage, and he never hesitates to do it. If you don't want anyone touching you, you have to voice it out. No one here will do anything you are uncomfortable with. Oh, okay, Hyung Nim. Jungkook looks down in his lap, tries to busy himself by picking at the blanket with his left hand. Just Hyung is fine. You don't have to be so formal with me. Namjoon sits on the bed beside him this time and not on the chair. Your fingers are bandaged, but I would let you do it yourself if you don't want me to apply the medicine. It's okay. You can apply it. That just somehow sounds right in Jungkook's head. Comfortable. Thank you, Namjoon says. Thank you for trusting me with that. May I? The ointment scooped on two of his fingers, the alpha questions. Jungkook slowly nods before tilting his head and exposing one of his most intimate parts. His scent glands, swollen and protruding and blotched with a nasty red. Namjoon hisses a little, just imagining how painful it must be if it looks that bad. I'll be gentle, but let me know if it hurts. Another nod. And Jungkook applies it. Very slowly, very gently, very subtly. Jungkook has never been touched like that before. Not here, not anywhere on his body. Never by an alpha. His irritated neck stings when the cool ointment comes in contact with it, but it doesn't make him flinch or whimper. Namjoon's fingers feel good against his skin, and before he knows, both sides are done. Namjoon is pulling his hand away and Jungkook is struggling to hold back a whine. No, stay. Please. He wants to request, but he doesn't. It confuses him. He has never felt this way before. For no one, let alone an alpha. But Namjoon messes him up in the head effortlessly, like no one ever has before. Namjoon doesn't need to hit him or degrade him to make mess out of him. Namjoon just needs to smile gently, talk softly, and touch him lightly, and Jungkook's soul leaves the painful constraints of his battered body and settles somewhere very nice, very peaceful. Why? Jungkook's brows furrow together, his lips subconsciously protruding into a pout. Why what, darling? Oh, sorry, Hyung Nim. It was just a thought I said out loud. Why, you don't have to mind it. I do mind it. Namjoon opposes. What are you wondering about? It's nothing. Really. Jungkook continues to look down at his hands as if they're the most interesting thing in the room. Come on. Namjoon nudges at the boy. He knows better than to push, but hey, it's different to wheedle the boy's words out of him. Isn't it? If pushing is bad, holding it in is even worse. Tell Hyung what's on your mind. I don't like you looking so bothered, love. In fact, he hates it. And this Jungkook wants to say, this is what's on my mind. Your words. But he knows it'll sound weird. Of course it will though, because Namjoon makes him feel weird, and it's totally out of his control. He doesn't think he knows what's happening anymore, and he wants to ask, but he doesn't know where to start. It's a pause. Namjoon wait with so much patience. A minute. Then another one. He sees Jungkook trying to gather his thoughts, and he doesn't interrupt the boy. I feel weird. Kind of embarrassing on Jungkook's behalf to only be able to put together 3 words after thinking for 3 whole minutes. The Omega flushes, wanting to fiddle with his fingers, but unfortunately, 3 of them are fractured and can't really move. I feel abnormal. He tries to elaborate, but he has a feeling it's not going well. Help. He needs help. Why so, baby? Because of you. The last part is a whisper because Jungkook doesn't know what will be the outcome of saying that. Why you make me feel weird? My body and never reacted like this to the alphas before, and it's, I don't know. I can't tell what's happening and it scares me. Namjoon looks at him so understandingly, as if he gets everything Jungkook is saying. As if he relates. I told you, baby, about us being fated mates. Remember? Jungkook nods, slowly. This is just you feeling our bond. I feel that too, when you're around. But my love, it's not weird or abnormal. I really love the feeling of being around you, and I hope that someday you'll be comfortable enough to think the same about me. Namjoon loves being around Jungkook. Jungkook blushes a little at that, giving his head a tiny little jerk so his hair would fall into his eyes and hide him from this world. Thankfully, his fingers are long enough to help. What am I supposed to do? Jungkook questions. Something inside him tells him it's a stupid question, but lately he's realized that Namjoon doesn't make him feel small or stupid like the rogues did. He makes him feel heard and listened and acknowledged, and that is the best form of courtesy that has ever been directed at Jungkook. That is why he thinks 1,000 times before asking something and then rarely ever asks something. Because he wants to use Namjoon's courtesy wisely, so that it wouldn't run out soon. As your fated mate. Jungkook adds, will he have to obey the alpha? Please him. What else? Just be yourself, Jungkook. Namjoon supplies with so much fondness that a person could bask and melt in it, but Jungkook doesn't because he's thrown into another perplexion. How is he supposed to be himself when he doesn't know who he is? Just be yourself and do what your heart desires, love. Jungkook gets the liberty to what his heart desires. Coming from someone else, the statement would have thrown him into a panic attack. It would have sounded like a blatant lie tailored just to hurt him, but when Namjoon says it, it sounds true. Jungkook's heart believes the alpha, even if his head doesn't. But, Debbie, what am I supposed to do for you? Something, surely. There must be something. Why, you have been very merciful towards me. And for that, I am obliged to you, Hyung Nim. No matter how kind Namjoon seems to be, everything in this world comes with a cost, so there has to be something. However, nothing. Namjoon chuckles and takes a hold of Jungkook's hand. It's wrapped up to cover the bite marks, and the alpha makes sure to not hurt it. He's always so gentle with the way he touches. How can he ever hurt the boy? You are not obliged to me, and someone letting you live your life the way you want is not an act of mercy. It's just your natural right being given to you. So don't do a thing for me just because you feel obligated to do so. However, if you want to do something for me as my mate, you could maybe start by looking at my face when we talk. Only if it doesn't feel too overwhelming. Oh, that's a small price to pay. And that's a very small request to be made. Jungkook looks at Namjoon quickly, unable to get his hair out of his eyes because one of his hands is plastered and Namjoon is holding the other one. Namjoon catches onto the struggle and does it for him. He brushes Jungkook's hair away and tucks them behind his ear to reveal his gorgeous set of eyes. And we can maybe become friends if it's not too much to ask for. Friends? Yes. Let's get to know each other. Tell me about yourself, Jungkook. I'll tell you about me. Let's start off as friends and then maybe, just maybe, Namjoon brings Jungkook's hand close to his lips and kisses he knuckles ever so softly. It's barely even a kiss, more like a brush of the lips. If you ever find yourself in a position where your heart allows it, we can be something more than that. Until then, my love, I'll wait for you with all the patience I have, so take your sweet time. As I said before, there's no rush. Baby steps. Namjoon thinks, placing his cheek against the back of Jungkook's hand, gazing into his eyes intensely. Baby steps. Jungkook is the one who holds his gaze this time, without looking away, which is new. And maybe that's a yes from him. An affirmative. Non-verbal but clearly readable.